Alright, so I'm demonstrating a couple of methods of extraction here. The one I'm going to demonstrate right now is the screw in the method. So what I'm going to try and do is, with the engine on the stand and the good clearance, screw into the casing of the seal. And I can just feel it start, okay? I've got this on, good, because I don't want to lose this footage. So I've screwed this screw in, it's in the steel casing. I don't want to damage anything else in my assembly. And then, depending on how you can grasp it, again, I just don't want anything damaged here. Grasp it like that. Screwdriver there. And pop. There you go. There's a demonstration. Extracting a seal using the screw method. Again, you can see in there's nothing's been damaged except my pride. Take that screw out. It's only poked through, so I haven't cut deeply and left any schwarft inside there. The schwarft is your enemy. So that's that recovered. It's a piece of junk now. Going back to my previous attempt. Take my seal here. Tiny amount of that assembly lube just around here. Make everything slide nicely. You could just use normal grease, but I'm too lazy to go and get it. So just want to show you this product's ideal. Just slip the rubber. You could use rubber grease. You can use whatever you bloody want. So line it up and work it in. Oh, and that's where you have the fun. It does cock a little bit. Okay, I'm going to send it all the way home. I have a spare one of these as well, so I'm not worried if it's a problem. But we can do our install again, this time just to make sure we're getting contact. Again, I can take the Prussian blue, put a little bit on one edge like that, whether you can see that, but just on that shoulder. And what it'll do, slide it on, pop, in you go. When I pull that off, it should show me that it touched the seal and it's wiped onto the seal. Another way we can do it is I'm going to do the measure option. So what I have here is a measuring stick. So if you get your verniers, any old vernier, you'll see they stick that thing out the end. All you can do is, we know that there's the mating surface for the flat edge on our phaser. So you simply do place that on the edge, run it down to that mating surface. Then placing this on the mating surface, you can see how far through and into the seal it goes. Now, I'm not happy with that. I think my seal's been inserted too far. So now I've got to try and extract that seal without damaging it, and then reinstall it without pushing it too far. And I don't want to have a leak. Jesus. So I've got two seals. I think I'll be using the second one today. And I'll just try this. Pop. There you go. So I just rolled it out. Now, I could probably reuse that one, even though I've just pried this in here and levered it out. It's rolled it ever so slightly. But since I have a second one and I don't want to have a failure, I use this as a learning testing exercise. In addition to that, I remove some of the lubricant that I did place on that for the original seal insertions, which caused me to go beyond the ideal limit where the seal needed to be. Clean that up. Now guys, if you're doing this and you haven't just done a rebuild, you're probably looking at a seal, you probably remembered how it all went together, you're probably not replacing your phaser, or you are, I don't know. But you'll have the benefit of being able to see where the seal was when you extracted it. I didn't have that luxury on this motor or the past motors because the head had been separated before the seal had been removed. So if you do it in the correct order with the correct tools, you'll know exactly where you need to be. If you don't, what I'm showing you here is the methods that you can correctly calculate all your positions, double check what you're doing to make sure you don't end up with a seal failure, because these are the worst seals to ever fail. And the reason I say that, I just don't want that one there. Just push that in. These ones are the ones that leak onto your timing belt. Every other seal I couldn't care less about, but these ones are super critical. Another new seal, offer it up, carefully push it in. There, it's almost flush. Alright, so we're back. Now I've got my video viewer on. I'm just going to show you what we've done here, guys. So, first of all, getting that in there. It's a bit bright. I don't know where to put it. What needs to adjust. So we have a bolt. So this bolt here was the one that goes in there. Part number for everyone who wants to read it. Renault Group. Hope this is getting clear. Yeah, it'll come out clear enough. A200545704. So that's your bolt that goes in here to hold your phaser on. Next bolt. So this nut, 8200793. 248 is the nut that holds your exhaust cam. This washer, this is the bung, 82007539622. This is the bung that goes in there once it's all together, keep the oil in. And last but not least, this is the part number 820077847. So this one here is what I'm about to crack open. And as you can see, our friends at Renault pack the Loctite onto it, and its little hole is in here. So the reason that the one I took it out, like often, look, and there'll be an argument, oh, I don't need to take it out, blah, blah, blah. Right, yeah, you don't need to take it out. And I've got to go and get my thread locking, my tool for this, which I brought home from the shop. This needs to go in. This thread's obviously different, but I took this out. The reason I took it out is because I had to run these up on the lathe. All right, so we ran these camshafts on the lathe to get to smooth out the bearing surface. Now, if you don't think that I should have done that, that's your business. These are my camshafts, and they had a problem, and it could only be fixed with mounting them in a lathe and turning them up at slow speed and cleaning them up. So I didn't video that. That's my business, not yours. But at the end of the day, as you could get supplied some cams, you should change this bolt will stretch, etc, etc. These are my bolts. I bought these ages ago for my race motor. Now I'm using them on Woody's motor, so he's going to get the benefit of these on these Magic 197 RS200 Clio 3 camshafts. New dephaser, new bolts, new locking washers, new nuts. The only thing I'm not going to use new is our just get it here, which is the exhaust side. But I've selected one that I think's more than good enough for the job. Hasn't been abused too badly. Hasn't got any damage on the outside. Hasn't got any damage on the where the camshaft, where the drive belt's going to run. So that's the one we're going to be running. So right now, what we're going to do is make this thing go home into those threads and lock tight. So let me go and grab the right tool. All right, so I'm back. This is a stud tool. I can find these in your touch stop. Its job is normally to get a stud out. You could do the old double nut job on the rear. Now, the reason I'm not doing the double nut job, just checking my vision, and I'm going to go with this design, is these are designed to stretch. Okay, so if you go putting double nut on, you may in fact induce stretching. So as to avoid the stretch. Now I don't need a lot of force at this stage. Now it's starting to spin. Reposition it. Okay, spun a couple of times. So what I'm going to do, my favourite, to help the damn thing lock in, just going to make sure my threads are clean down in there. My favourite product, brake clean. My other favourite tool, the pick. I'm just going to clean these out, because over time they will build up with muck that you're trying to, studs you're trying to clean. Sometimes you'll get one that's way too strong. So I'm just cleaning that out now, guys. Okay, cleaning that out. There's a couple of burrs on it. You could put it on a wire wheel if you wanted to. Now, if you really get carried away, but you know, there could be stud lock on there, could be thread locker. I could have been installing some studs with a bit of thread locker. That's probably what this is more than anything. So let's pick that out so we don't get the slip. Put it back in. Again, check the other side of this. You can see there's still a bit of thread locker in that. It's probably not helping. That's it, it's gone. So yeah, it's a cheap design. Got all my thread locker. So again, push this back through here, through that hole. Sorry, through that hole. Grab that, that locks in. Sometimes you can flick them around like that, so you can use a different side. Alright, let's get back to what we're doing, which is trying to tighten up this stud. Now, when I'm tightening this, I'm only using on the back, the horseshoe. Okay, and it's not putting up a lot of resistance, which probably doesn't help. So, use the stud installer. And I can see it's still turning nicely. Now it's firming up there. I'll make sure I get in nice and close. And I don't want to do too tight because you don't want to damage the back of your camshaft. And I'm sure you could find a value somewhere. I'm going to use my experience value. There you go. So that's my experience. Tighten that up like that. It's got the thread locker on it. I've thoroughly cleaned the threads. This is the nut that's going to go on it. Bust that out of the bag. Throw it in the bin. Again, I will be putting some thread locker on this when I assemble it, or when I tighten it down, but ultimately doesn't need it because this nut has a locking characteristic. So as it goes on, it tightens up to ensure it doesn't remove, and that's why they say to buy a new one of these. So all these bolts, nuts, this is everything the book says. Buy these, buy this, buy that, buy that, and buy that if you're changing your dephaser. Okay, if you're not changing your dephaser, if you're just still doing a camshaft change, don't buy all this stuff. But if you want to say this has got a bit of play in it, so you're going to do that, you want to set your group end timing. What I would probably do, if this was me personally, if I was replacing this, setting group end timing on the standard 172182, wouldn't worry about this. Leave this alone. So this is going to stay there. You're going to be able to set the 182 timing, and this is another video I'm going to be making, is the 182 timing. You're going to be able to turn this, put the lock in, and set this at your 182 numbers. Then you're going to do your dephaser, set that, and you're probably going to just replace the bolt in. So you're going to leave this one fixed, that one replaced, that bolt replaced with your kit, and you'll be happy days. So again, the Renault guys say, whatever you do, keep everything clean. So clean's clean, clean, because you want this stuff to mount up. So push that on there. No, sorry, wrong way around. Just going to check that's clean. It's got a bit of corrosion, a bit of God's Loctite for a bit of extra protection. So that's now on there. Okay. Just before I send that home, I'm just going to check it all. A little bit of muck in there. So, you know, what's the history of this one? I don't know. Came off a motor. Came with me. It came with the camshafts and the cylinder heads for this engine, which weren't in bad condition. Old mate Bruce from down in Melbourne, he provided this after much of a challenge. It was a little bit challenging, but Bruce helped me out in the end. Respect to Bruce. Bruce supplied me the cylinder head, but then Bruce forgot to put the cam cover with the cylinder head, because I think he missed the bit where cam covers a line board for the camshaft bearings. So you can't go interchanging. Even I'm the king of Dodge. Even the king of Dodge says do not have the same cover as you do the cam head. So the head and the cam are line board together. They live together till the day they die. So don't think for an absolute instant that you are going to grab off some other car a cam cover because yours is a bit average. They live with the head. Those two were united in the factory of Renault in the cylinder head division, and they shall stay united till their absolute bin, till they're bin. They lie together, they die together. These guys are bad boys for life. Ride together, they die together. So if you throw the head away, what I'm saying, throw a head away, don't keep the cam cover. If you've got a broken cam cover, you've got to get another head. You can't get another cam cover. It doesn't work like that. I don't know, if you don't understand engineering, just understand this. This one and this one come together. They shall always be together. You shall not place this one on another head. This head shall not be placed with another one. They are united. They are joined. Anyway, I digress. Alright, I'm happy with that. That's clean. Happy days. Throw that. Alright, so I'm going to put that on in the correct position. I'm then going to take my magic nut. Feed that on. Now, get my 18 millimeter. Everything's 18. So I'm going to tighten that up, right? So again, the only thing that's holding the camshaft is our friend the horseshoe at the back. And this isn't really getting any treatment. It's just tight, which is meant to be. Oh, see that? just move like that. It's good. So I'm just going to back it off. There. And see, this now spins. This spins. This spins. This spins. Welcome to Renault 101. You can see why mechanics hate. Look at that. There we go. Spinning. Yes. Spinning. Yes. Spinning. Yes. Spinning. Yes. Spinning. No oil. Okay. Here, there's no oil. Don't agree. I don't totally agree with it, but at the end of the day, I never want these things to slip. I want these things to clamp up tight. So as much as I love to put grease and lubricants under every head bolt, every fastener that I use to make sure it doesn't have that friction, these ones is one time where I want friction. Okay, so, and if you don't get the friction, it doesn't get set hard the first time, you're gonna have a problem. All right, guys, I'm just trying to bring this back into shot. Bring it down a little bit. So what I have here is your Schaefer INI timing belt kit from INA. I'll show you the part number again. Let's open her up. What do we get? What did we get? Okay, my friend, I have for you one timing belt, manufactured, engineered and built by INA in Italy. So I hope you trust the Italians. It's a French thing, I'm sure. Now let's see what other little goodies they give us. So they got a couple of bungs, they got a bolt, they got a couple of ends. We've got one, we have two, we have three. Okay. Obviously you realise that's the tensioner. This is one of the guides. That's the other guide. Now, as you can probably see, there's nothing, the exception of the tensioner, there's nothing else bolted up on the front of this motor. So I'm going to have to go and find these studs, which I did extract, which I do have. I don't have it off this motor, I got it off another. Anyway, so we need to get the studs. Actually, I did extract the stud off this motor there. And then that's a nut. But look, bottom line is we'll get all this stuff together. It does come with new bolts there. It's just a crank bolt, and it does come with another pulley bolt as well. So the pulley bolt should be the one replacing this pulley bolt, and I think it may even give me a spacer. So I'm going to go and shift over that, because basically every pulley manufacturer will build their pulleys just slightly differently, but ultimately we want to make sure everything's on square. Alright, so let me just put this down. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this in case you haven't seen it. There's that little section there. Has a little groove it lives in. Bring it down, offer it up to its little groove. Done. Put the nut on. Right, nut's there, okay? So we're going to play tensioning later. The tensioning game will get played at a later stage. Open up our box. What's in our bag, people? Well, first thing in our bag is our two bungs for the rear. One which looks slightly smaller than I'd like, but nope, survey says correct. So these bungs are correct. You'll shove them in at the end. Well, that's something I haven't dealt with before, but it looks like the bung that goes in there. why they would be providing me with that, but it may become revealed later. So we'll put that down there. Okay, so next thing, pull out of our baggie, is our special spacer, which helps gap this all out, and our new bolt for us to stretch. And that bolt if I'm right, that bolt and that nut live together, and if I review my footage, I think it goes there. So I'll just chuck it in there for now. This one here is our new crank bolt. Now, so I want to show you something interesting. We often talk about bolts that stretch, etc. Probably not the perfect way to tell you, but I'm just going to present these two up to each other. And they seem very similar. My other favourite way of comparing, so I like to try and line the two threads up, see if they interlock. Now, do I think this bolt is okay? Yes, it probably is. Am I going to use it? No, I'm not. Put that one over there. So this one's going to go on here. Right, that's where she's going to live in the end. So now I'm going to take my pulley. You always check to see there's no drive method. I'm a bit OCD, so I like to read it from the front. So when I put it on, I like to do it like that. That allows me to feed it round, feed it up. Now we've still got one more to go in yet, right, which will live in there. So get that over first. Okay, she's over. Slide it on, slide that on, bring that in. No tension at all. Guide's not even tight, but we've brought everything in. That'll need to shift up to there. But this means that now everything's sort of in its little spot. Take this off. Poke our pulley in. Put our pulley bolt into the hole. Now I haven't used any Loctiters either, so I'm a bit of a fan of Loctite, but in this model you can't. Ain't no Toyota, my friends. So the crank pin, locking pin is in. Just double check. Yep. So all I'm going to do is just bring it in. Now, on the crank, when this pulley's tight, its actual job is to tighten and hold your oil pump as well. So I guess one thing to say, there you go, that's moving. So let's check the one in the back moves. It's going to be a lot harder, but I'll try. And yeah, okay, cool. So this is loose enough that our unkeyed pulley in the rear is moving around for us. This is moving around for us. This is moving around. This is moving around. This is ready to be set. This is ready to set. This is how you actually set these up, right? So we set the tension. If you haven't watched the videos before, when you're setting up all this, this is like they did it at the factory. So this moves, this moves, this moves. Everything moves, but at the same time, camshaft's locked, crank's locked. Remember, your crankshaft locking pin and your camshaft locking bar are not to be used for torquing. So this is our next problem, because this motor's not in a car, it's on a hoist. So I've got to build a tool to lock my crank while I torque that last bolt up. The last bolt's critical. So these ones here, what we're going to do is set the tension. Then we're going to use my locking tool to lock one and then lock the other. To make sure, when I say lock, we're going to firm them. We're not going to super tight. Then we're just going to firm these two up. Then we're going to set the other one. Then we're going to turn it, and then we're going to finish it off. So it's a very long, protracted job. It's quite technical. It's painful, and people want to complain about it, and you can complain about it if you want. But I believe this is the most beautiful way of setting an engine, is timing, that you can possibly get. We're not relying on any inaccuracies. We will absolutely dial this motor in to where the manufacturer said these camshafts will work perfectly with this dephaser and this crank and this timing, provided you use that and that. So when you're cursing these guys later, and I'd never curse Renault, but if you are cursing Renault, remember that you have the ultimate in precision timing. The only other manufacturer I've seen that's this bad and this precise is BMW. So it's well engineered, it's well designed, it does work, it's been tested and proven in the field time and time and time again. So don't try and come to me and say it's a flawed system. It's not a flawed system. It's a beautiful system. So right now I've salvaged my bolts. Now these didn't come on the head from Bruce, and he told me they wouldn't. And that wasn't a problem. So we're going to have to put these two studs in, there and there. Now, I have tightened this up, but that's all right. I'm going to whip it off. My trusty tool, which is missing. Go and grab her. There she is. Take this backwards off again. Take it off. So exhaust. Okay, so we've got these two here, these studs, which hold your cam cover on, which hold the motor together. But they're also part of setting this timing, so you've got to have them on. Okay, so Luke uses 277, my other Loctite product. I'm going to get t-shirts made up. And it's going to say, fixing life's problems with Loctite 277 and 515. Because this will fix your problems. Okay, here's a tutorial in Loctite. Never let the tip of your Loctite touch the steel. Keep it separated. The reason we keep them separated is that it's the steel that activates the Loctite. Alright, so I'm back with my magic tool I demonstrated earlier. So again, stud tool, put her on. We're going in that general direction, which is the tightening general direction. Again, I've stud locked it. My 277. And it's still set for retract. Let's get. Go on that. There we go. Because you don't want these coming out. High RPMs, track time. You want to know that these studs are stretching, not backing off. This one I've got a nice shank to work on. Again, it's going into an alloy head. I don't want to strip them, but I do want it tight. There we go, that one's in. Now I took that off just purely for this reason. Go around to that one. Just screwing it in. And we're getting tighter. Lock it in. I reckon that will probably pull it up alright. Again, it's going to get tight. So what I'm with a lot of studs, the stud tension, you're not about burying your stud thread into your head. Okay, so remember, the stud will go in the same way this one went in, locked in. When you tighten that, it pulls the thread tension up. But you definitely don't want them coming loose. You don't want to give them an opportunity to come loose. So we've got our 2 studs in. Now we've got to put this final, your final one. So you've got the stepping. Okay, so that's the stepped, there it's called, can't think of it, bush, step to bush. Locates in this alloy housing. There's nothing on this side, it just simply marries up and clamps up tight. So that locates it, that clamps it. Again, last time I did this was 515. Sorry, 277 and 277 it again. Now there'll be a torque reading for this somewhere in the world. I guess I've turned enough spanners and enough bolts and enough threads to know where you want to stop when you're through on a steel stud, steel thread like this into an alloy housing, and you put Loctite on it, so that's nice and smooth. Get my 18, get my torqueometer. Sorry, it's 16 people. 16 torqueometer. Now, if you're not sure, look it up. But I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to go down to my bottom one again. One of the other things that I like, guys, is when you're putting a steel fastener into an alloy component, you get good tension. When you're putting a steel fastener into a steel, or in this case cast iron or steel block, you just don't seem to achieve the same fastener level. Hence, they'll actually give you a torque reading on this, and hence this one has to be replaced. So in the interest of good video, I am actually going to find out what I need to torque this one up to. I probably should stop the video, go and look it up. I think I've got a cheat sheet somewhere up there. Put my Loctite on, and not every cheat sheet will give it to you. So the other way to tell is you look at it, you go, right, she's an M10, she's steel on steel. A steel on steel M10 should easily handle, in the real world, about 50 Newton meters. Okay, so just to be a good operator, I'm going to take my trusty torque wrench I don't trust, untrustworthy torque wrench made by, set it to 50 Newton meters. It's a bit over 50. Just back it up. Alright, we'll play it. Yeah, that's looking like a 47 Newton meters. There we go. Add 2. Okay, so now I need to grab my 16, because that's what they are. Back again, 16 Newton, 16 socket, set at 50 Newton meters. Click. The other one I set up earlier in the alloy, let's see what I did. That's already clicked. That one's good, that one's good. Now I'll return my tensioner to its location, untensioned in the groove. Put the nut on. This point in time, I shall also swing around my belt, feed that on, feed that on, feed that on. And you can see I fed it all through, right? Because you've got the lip and the nut. Bring that in like that. Goes onto the studs. And she goes. Okay, so it's still a little bit tight, guys. Straighten that up, straighten that up, straighten that up, straighten that up. Because really what I want to demonstrate is there's very little tension on this. Fortunately there is. Not very much. But I'll pull that out just the same. Because when I'm putting this on, I need to make sure it's nice and square and there's no force on it. We're home. So yeah, just got that to the nip point. Backed it off the nip point, so it's sitting nice and flush. Now I'm going to grab this tensioner, locator, put a bit of tension on that, feed it in, rotate it around. It's already got some tension on it. Okay, around in. Let's not want to play the game. Check that's right, check that's right. Alright, so we're back. I now have everything together. So if you follow the procedure, the last bolt you put in is actually this one. So if you picked up on that, well done. If you didn't know any better, leave that one off, do that one, put your belt on, do that, put that, loop it round, put that, and then last point, tighten up and set your torque on this one. Okay, so now this is where the magic happens. I'm going to show you, and you can hear that god-awful noise. That's everything turning. Okay, but that will tighten up as you do it. So I have camshafts locked, crank locked, and independent turning on my belts. So next stage is we need to set the tension on our pulley. So probably need to refresh myself, but what we need to find is the right Allen key that goes in there. So we'll go and get the rail set up to set the tension, turn it in the appropriate dimension, and then set the tension, set the lock. Okay, so we're trying to set tension on our belt at the right point with the right tension, with everything loose, semi-loose, so that we've set these two camshafts right, so they've got the right amount of tension between these two. Okay, so this is the final shoot if you followed all the instructions in your manual. Okay, so you've got your manual, but this is the visual version of what's in your manual. I've got a good shot of the camera, I've got a good shot of the thing. So let's start off. You want to set your torque wrench to 28 newtons. I'm just going to do that right now. My trusty head torch, because I'm blind. 34, 27. Okay, there's the 27, so go +1. Alright, so I've roughly got that set at 28 Newton meters. So the reason you're watching this video is you may have found a set of instructions on how to do this job. And the set of instructions are literally 2 pages, and I know I've referred to this earlier. We got 2 pages of pictures, which won't separate. Sorry, 1 page of pictures, 1 page of the amount of time, 1 page of how your belts go together. Then in fine print, I kid you not, 1, 2, 3 pages of fine print. And it's very fine print. So right now we are up to this part of the fine print after it starts with taking the thing that says temporarily slackened crankshaft will leave 2 to 3 mil clearance between contact, which is this crankshaft book. Okay, so we got our 2 to 3. Happy days. Crank fast bolt and crank fast pulley. Slacken tensioner nut. Turn tensioner pulley clockwise until tensioner marks a 16-17 line using 16 mil Allen key. So if I go to the picture says, where's the picture? There's the picture. Hold on, Woody. So we have a little groove and two little marks. So I've actually gone to the extent of prepping these up, and I painted them with my favourite yellow texture. There's my line. There's the groove with the two things either side. That's the 6mm Allen key. This is the most critical bit, because as I said earlier, this will turn. Let me demonstrate. Oh, maybe not so easily. Oh. Now it's got tension, it doesn't want to play the game as well. But anyway, the point is that's all tiny little bit loose, loose with 2 to 3 millimeters loose. That's turning and that's lined up. So at this point, take out that, grab your torque wrench with your 13mm and click. Right, we have now tensioned a timing belt on a 172/182 motor and replaced the dephaser and replaced the camshafts, replaced the cylinder head. I've locked, that's torqued up, that's torqued up, that's torqued up. This and this aren't torqued up, that's not torqued up, which is your crank bolt. This is my new magic tool. This is the one I've already previously tested. It has to go in like that. So there's a number of components that need to be set first. So that lives up there. That holds that down there. Two of them onto there. And we've got this. Sorry, one too many there. Yep, that's good. So that can go up onto there. That can fit over there. This is your other gapper. Goes in there, and what we need is the bolt. Holds that on. And at the same time, don't go anywhere. I know where that one. Use this one here on there. That's nice, that's nice. We need to get the bolt, which holds this on. We're back. Okay, so I've mounted the Magic HCB tool A1499. I've temporarily torqued it up. And I'll torque it up again, because this thing slipped on me when I was undoing, so I don't need that challenge again. I've absolutely set it and squeezed the bejesus out of it, because all I want is nothing to move when I torque these two items up. Okay, that's tight, that's located, everything's smooth, everything clear, so everything can move. So tighten camshaft locking nuts 21 to 80 Newton meters of torque. Referring to my chart, make sure everything's on the right. Okay, yeah, so they're tight, they're 21, they're at 80. Okay, so with F4R, temporary type, each 24 and 26 to 30 Newton meters. Yep, 24, 26, which I don't show, to 30 Newton. So what we're going to do is we're just going to tighten this to 30 Newton meters. Problem is that I've got this set at 27. I'll go up. I need to go and grab my 16 and my 18 to set these. 30 Newton meters, 18, locking tool in place. 1, 2, there we go. Okay, both set to 30 Newton meters, locking tools in place. Camshaft locking tool 20, flywheel bolt, tight temporarily tuned crank wheel flying bolt to 20 Newton meters. Well, let's just go. Let's follow these stupid instructions. We'll back this down. Yep, there you go. We're at 20.4 Newton meters. Let's lock this up. Click. Okay, so that's at 20, 30, 30. Locking tool in, camshaft in. Tensioner in. Okay, but the tensioner's moved ever so slightly. Doesn't matter, we'll come back to that. According to the instructions, with this at 20 and this at 30 and 30, without these items in here, which I'm about to remove, we're going to be able to turn our motor over without any locking stuff in, and we're not going to have a problem. Clip. Clip. Everything's loose. Done. Right, that's out, that's out. That's still on there. It's alright, put it back over. Inch. So, according to our friends, what we're going to do now, instructions are remove this and remove this. Oh, everything's nice and tight. That's what I like. So I want to remove that and I want to remove that. That's one out. There you go. Horseshoes out. Okay. Nothing in this motor. No oil. No spark plugs. Let's see whether she wants to turn. So we're going to watch all this and we're going to do 2 full turns. 2 full turns. One full turn. Coming up on our 2 full turns. And as you come up on your 2 full turns, don't get carried away. Get this pin. Not in yet. But it's gone beyond now. And my 2 full turns again. One. Let's slow down, and I reckon about there. Okay. Like I said, that line and that line. Now we've got no turning. So we're back home. So if nothing slipped and everything was right, I should be able to get my timing bar in. Timing bar's very close, but it's not spot on. Very close. Extremely close. But not close enough for my liking. Based on that, have a look at our tensioner. Tensioner's not too bad. Where's that 13? I've done 4 revolutions. Back that tensioner off. Alright, so guys, we've just done the first 2 revolutions. I'm not happy because I can't slide my horseshoe straight in the back. Now, if you've done this job a few times, you'll know that when everything's timed in, she just pushes straight in. With a little bit of force. I'm not saying it's an easy job. In this case, it's just not playing the game. And since we've made so many adjustments, I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to set it all up again. Put my pin in there. Check. And grab my put my cam locking tool back in to have it at the ready. Locked in. If you're still watching this video, you're still getting this footage, you're not bored senseless, great. Locked. Locked. Now, what I'm going to do this time is a little bit different. So I reckon the exhaust timing's good. I actually reckon that's pretty good. But I reckon my dephase is just out a slight amount. So I'm going to put the dephaser in. I'm going to put this one in. On the appropriate tools. First of all, I'm just going to lock my exhaust side. Again, this time I haven't got my bar in, okay? I've locked that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. There's my intake. I'm just going to lock it gently. Actually, I probably need to lock it a little bit tighter, right? Because I need to undo this bolt, the nut that I torqued up to 30 Newton meters, which is not a great deal. Now taking my precision 18mm, just going to back 16, sorry. Precision 18, there it is. Take my precision 18 and back this off. Crack. Okay, that just shifted. Now, that's loose. Now I'm going to grab this tool. I'm going to take it, remembering the camshaft is loose, adjust it, and oh god, gosh. So tap this in a little bit more. Okay, it's in now. Now, I'm going to say one thing. The reason this is probably, if you're using standard 172 or 182 camshafts and you're doing this job, I'm going to tell you it's going to be a lot easier because what I'm using is 197 camshafts. They have been set at the with a more advance on them. So my dephase is nice and fresh, so it's not going to give me any movement. It's moved there, that's locked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recheck. I've got enough torque on here, 80 Newton meters. Done. Done, that's good, it's not moving. It's not moving. Okay, nothing's moving, we've reset it. I'm going to take my tool here, reset it to 30 Newton meters. And then I'm going to re-torque it. Okay, I'm just actually going to go flush it further because I think it can handle it. 34. 34 is good. 34 is good. And I'm actually going to get my crank pulley 34. Okay, so everything's set back at 34. Release our locking device. Crack. Crack. Doesn't take much. They're out of the way. Our 16mm bolt and retainer. We need to take that out. Crack. Off, off, everything's off. Right, need to take my locking pins and bars out. So you saw me tap, 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 tap this bar in. Probably need to tap it out again. Let's pull it. Got done. 16. Thank you. 18. Okay. Hopefully you can see that yellow line with that yellow little mark. And I'm going to turn this thing. You can hear the sound of the air coming through. I've just cracked one. Back around again, slowly. Coming up towards the park position, which I think is there. If I have the park position correct, this will go straight in. All the way. Almost all the way. So have I overshot it? I don't think so. There. Look at that. It was just the lightest touch. Park position to crank. Take this nonsense and my rubber mallet, because I'll probably need it. Lay it in to these cams. I don't know why these aren't playing the game. So right now, So right now I'm happy with my intake position, but I'm unhappy with my exhaust position. So we've done that exercise. Exhaust is the one not playing the game. It's just a bit high, a bit out of time. But that's alright, because I have all the right equipment. So what am I going to do now, guys? Repeat, repeat, repeat. If you just find this boring, well, Renault's ain't for you. So we put the tool back in, because we bought the right tool. We put the nut back in. We screw it on. Okay, I push it away. That way it can't separate anymore. This one locates, so put that in. Can't do any more than that. Now we're not going to be adjusting the intake varnish, but I need to trim up that exhaust settings. But I'll put it on anyway. So tick, tick. I hope this is getting this. I think it is. So you want to push, if there's any play, you want to push that play away from the exhaust side. Because when you push this down onto the exhaust and tension it up, you don't want a situation where it pulls, where because you've pushed it this way, it then spreads and separates. This one's not a problem, that one's not a problem, but your bottom one can be. Fortunately, I've still got my 16 on. So I'm going to tighten the 16, it will naturally roll it. Tighten the top. Done. Two are in. Ratcheting spanner and 8mm. Loosen it off. Make sure it goes right up in, because we've been squishing the heck out of these bolts. There you go. So she's up in. Pull down on it. Just naturally finds its position. I'm not happy with that. I'm really, really not happy with that positioning. Ow! Okay, back up in. Crank this down. Locked. Let's go to this one. There's my problem, guys. No, that was loose. Alright, drop that one in. Bring it down. And we just want to hold this while we loosen it. Crack. Okay. Now I'm going to loosen that. Don't need a torque meter for that. I just need to loosen it. Go back to here. This side should drop in nicely, and it does. However, my exhaust side's not playing the game because I can see that the profile's out a little bit. I'll drop the profile of the exhaust down. And then, how'd you go, mate?
Got it.
Good. Might have to. Oh, sorry guys, forgot one critical part. When you are trying to reposition it, make sure that you haven't left it locked up, which I always did. So, well, you can leave it locked up technically, but you might need to just back off this a little bit more. Okay, so this camshaft is unhinged, but you remember you've still got tension on it, your tensioning belt, even then you've got tension there. So don't expect it to want to move quickly for you. Bring your cam belt around, your horseshoe around, and see if it'll just shift down, and it will. And then, the first time I did that, you'll remember I had to tap it in with this rubber mallet. Well, this time, I'm not happy, but it is a lot happier. Done. Come back up here. Find your 18 on the torque wrench, check it set at 30 odd. Bring it round. Tighten. Okay, this is getting crazy here, guys. But we're getting closer. So I think the rubber mallet's now out of the equation. We need to loosen our holders. Crack. Loose, loose. So technically, right, you don't need to take this off. You might want to tighten them up out of the way. I'm just following the instructions. I don't think the instructions are wrong. Right, so just tighten those up so it doesn't touch anything. In this case, just bring it over to there. Yep, that's free. Let's give it a nip. Double vision check. Yeah, we're good. This one here, it's dropped down. Once it's dropped down, it's out of the way. Take your bar out of the back. Horseshoe's gone. Locking pin's gone. Pick up your 18mm again. Look at your timing marks. That's all free. Let's go. One. Now the reason that they're obsessed, our friends at Renault are obsessed and I'm obsessed, the more times you turn it, the more your camshafts will settle in. Your cam belt. Tick. Oh, it's missed it again by a fly shit. Watch. No, made a liar out of me. There, it's in. It was parked. Okay, so that's parked, that's locked. Let's go back and see whether I can get this horseshoe back in the back. Exhaust side looks good, but my intake side, yep, done. Look at that, timed. Nice. So after a couple of revolutions, we've now got that set, and that set, all into manufacturer's spec for 197 cams, bolted into a 172 F4R motor.